Together for, I'm not even joking about his name, Christopher Stoffer. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.
It's alright, it's okay, we don't need music.
No one needs music.
We just need mutual respect and admiration.
Speaking of treats, I want to talk to you about Uncrustables. Do you know what Uncrustables are? You can find them in the frozen section, like in the novelty section. They're these like little peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that don't have crusts, and you eat them. I think that's a cop-out. Because they're called Uncrustables, but they crusted them. I call it bullshit. The only reason there's no crust is because you crusted them. They should be called formerly crusted bulls. And they shouldn't do that because, like, I wanted to crust it. I really did. I could have crusted it and used the crust to make a delicious bread pudding. But they couldn't have that because they want you to rely on them to crust things. Give a man an Uncrustable, he'll be satisfied for a short time, but teach a man to crust, and you have a horrible business model. That's BS, because that's like calling a donut an unmiddleable. Like, you like donuts, but you don't like the center? We got you. We took care of it. We took the center out. You're welcome. Oh, you like the center out? We're gonna sell that separately in the form of holes. That's not cool. That's not cool at all. Like, you know, that's why I like apple fritters, because it has the center. I love apple fritters. The apple fritters are like the fried chicken of sweet treats. In just like greasy goodness. I got an apple fritter the other day at Safeway because I was in the mood for a sweet treat. I was waiting behind this guy in line who was like this kind of dreaded, kind of like crust punk looking guy. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just what he looked like. But he kind of looked like Charlie Hunnam's character from Children of Men, if you know what that looks like. He looked militant. So he was in front of me in line, and he was complaining about the Safeway Club card because he did not want the Safeway Corporation to track his purposes. I get it intellectually, like your right to privacy, but it's just your grocery purchases. When are they gonna use that against you? It's not like in 20 years you're gonna be like under interrogation by the FBI, and they're like, tell me where he is, and you're not saying shit. And they've tried everything. They're like, well, maybe these Cocoa Puffs will change your mind. We've been made to believe that you fancy them quite a bit. According to our records, you're completely cuckoo for them. I can't be at like a grocery store, but especially Safeway, because like an anarchist at Safeway is weird because Safeway is a dystopia. Like, I used to work for Safeway. I'll save that for another like bit. But Safeway, and like if you're wondering what like a dystopia would be like in America, just go to Safeway. Because like there's long lines and everyone is sad, and you can tell all the employees are like forced to smile at you. And I can't be behind that kind of person at Safeway because because people like that, they like to call attention to all the horrible things. And I like to buy chicken. If I buy chicken in front of someone like that, they're gonna call attention to it and like how chicken is processed in factory farms and not bloodbath, and just like all the horrible things, and I can't handle that. I'm sensitive. It's like, okay, man, I'll just have a banana. But oh, like from the Dole Corporation, all right, man. You might as well have just hired the mercenaries yourself to weed out the local farmers. Okay, shit, man, I'll just have a water. Oh man, from Dasani? You're gonna be the first to get put in a work camp. I can't really talk about political stuff like this. I'm wearing sandals. You can't talk about serious stuff when you're wearing sandals, they're too leisurely. Could you imagine the type of world we would live in, like right now, if Martin Luther King Jr. was wearing sandals? That joke makes me kind of like picture like MLK wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Like, I have a dream that one day there will be a town named after Margarita. Margarita Town, it will be called. Possibly a borough or a ville. I find like that it's really hard to like, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that's really bad, and it's really hard to live in that place where you're pointing out all the stuff that you don't like around you. Like, I have a bunch of Facebook friends that are like kind of like really like, they're very like Pentecostal, like evangelical Christians, and the only way I can describe them is that they're like end times enthusiasts. Or like maybe end times hobbyists. And I go on the Facebook wall and it's all about like how all these natural disasters in America are because God is punishing us for being sinful. But they don't live in that for too long, because then the next Facebook post is like, "Go Cowboys!" And how are you going to point out what you think is wrong with the way that people behave while you watch the NFL? Because they do a bunch of horrible stuff. I don't know if you watch the news. But do not point out the stick in your brother's eye without first pointing out the log in the eyes of your favorite starting lineup.
Oh my God! Yes.
I want to start I have this idea for a game show. It's just like the guy who plays Crocodile Dundee, and he's handed like everyday objects. And he has to decipher whether or not those objects are a knife. So they hand him like a baby. They give him a baby, and he's like, "That's not a knife." And then they hand him like a ferret, and he's like, "That's not a knife." And then they hand him a knife, and he's like, "That's definitely a knife." But then here's the kicker, they hand him a sword. And he gets confused. Partially because there's a language barrier. That's a knife. Beep! Because he got it wrong. And then he has to wrestle like a crocodile or something.
Yeah.
People think that I'm a stoner for some reason. I have this like appearance, I guess, to some people. Like I'm very like, I was once told like, "Hey man, like when people meet you, they either think you're a stoner or a gay man, just because of the way that you talk." And I tell them, I'm neither, but I have tried one of those things recreationally. Like my apartment sent out, my apartment building, they sent out like a memo that was like, "Hey, weed is legal now, congratulations. But if you smoke it in the house, you are in breach of your rental agreement." And I took it personally because I'm sensitive. Also because the person that lives next to me, he or she smokes a lot of weed, and it's right next to me, and I'm always afraid that they think it's me because look at me. Because people, they think that I'm a stoner. And like sometimes people think that like I sell drugs. I'm like approached to sell drugs to people a lot. The flip phone doesn't help. Yes. By For people that saw me on the last showcase, I did this before. But just so you know, this is a new flip phone since then. My old flip phone broke and I bought a new one. I had a choice. And I checked the box marked continue flip phone usage. Like I just go to a grocery store and they're like, oh, someone's got the munchies.
Oh my god.
The Uncrustables are that way, sir. Don't be daft! I am not a stoner. I am not looking for Uncrustables, sir. Would you please point me to where the apple fritters are? That's my time. Thank you very much.